prior to doing so welcome back first of all. If you're new here, this is Corgi Chisme. you know it's a podcast. Sorry, I'm there, but I'm also like busy with other stuff in my mind. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. It's like a whole other situation today. But welcome to Corgi Chisme, where it's your favorite corgi talking about chisme, aka your no sabo corgi, KK. Hey yo. So today I had a vision of what I wanted to talk about, and then I got, as you can tell from the title, it's about jobs and about life in the United States. But I got an interview today, so some of my stuff is going to be like contradictory to what exactly I'm doing, but I wanted to talk about this for a really long time. I just felt like I feel that some people are going to be 50-50 on this episode. Some people are going to be like, that's very privileged of you, and other people are going to be like, well, I feel this exact same way. It depends on when you graduated college or what age in life you are, or stage in life you are, I mean. So let's discuss. Let me grab my drinky. Today's drinky is Goof Juice from Gamer Subs. Not affiliated. I'm just simply having this beverage to have this beverage. Okay, it's time to get caffeinated. It's time to get silly. This is Corgi Chisme. Okay, let's see. First things first, a little bit about me. So I went to college. I went to university at the round 2018 to 2022, which is, if you know historically, one of the greatest 4 years to do college, aka during midway of the beginning of the pandemic up until like midway when it like reached its peak. Fantastic. Loved that. I went for design school, specifically fashion design and concentration in textile design. So literally going to design school, you have to be there in person. It's really hard to do online schooling or any form of online schooling as a design school student because you need the peer feedback, in my opinion, and you also need just like that environment to have like the creative juices flowing. At least for me. At least for me. So I was like, I don't like this. I'm going to another college. So I spent 1 year at a different college in order to be there in person. So we were masked up, hand sanied, like you know how it is during the pandemic. That was crazy. That was a crazy time for all of us. And it was a choice. Let's just say that. So I was originally in business school and then I changed to design school. My dream had always been to work in the fashion industry and also be a designer in some way, shape, or form. Whether it was the fabrication, whether it was the actual design of the garment, I always wanted to be a part of it. And I always wanted to be part of the design process. So when the time ultimately came, I chose business because I got nervous about people finding out that I designed and I drew and I did all that other stuff. And I hated it. I lasted maybe 3 weeks in business school. And then I realized my pre college days at that same university that I did was basically teaching me the exact same stuff that I learned in pre college. And I was like, this is boring. I'm leaving. So I changed my major and that was fun. That was fun. I loved it when I was changing my major because then I had all the really good classes. Like I was doing life drawing, I was doing like tennis, I was doing really random stuff in order to fill up my credits because I wasn't allowed to change my major until fall. So spring semester, I was just kind of vibing and doing the extracurriculars and stuff. So that was pretty fun. But let's talk about university as well. University is a time. University is kind of a choice. And not kind of a choice, actually. It's more like it is a choice. Because when we go into university, you're paying an absurd amount of money. An absurd amount of money. I don't even know how to explain how much money it is now these days. Like, I know people that haven't been in college in years and are still paying debt. I'm very, very, very lucky to be debt free now after only it's 2026. So it's been like 4 years since I've been out of college. It took me 4 years to get out of it debt free, which was very, very good. And you know what? You know what? Would I do college again? I guess that's neither here nor there. I personally wouldn't have gone back to college, though I had considered it a while back. but I wouldn't go back to college if I had to redo it all over again, purely because I think with the skills I'm capable of having and because of just like the life choices I've made, um, it would make more sense if I just stuck to taking like a certificate and then taking an apprenticeship. That just seems like the best vibe. Sorry, I just got a notification. I just think like that's the best vibe for me, you know? Okay, time to take a swig of my drink. Okay. So, college is a very sensitive topic for some people. And when I mean sensitive topic, I mean some people aren't very knowledgeable on the idea of what college is now these days. And because of that, they think, hey, you need to go to college in order to get the degree you need. You need to go to college in order to get everything in life. This, that. And as much as I agree with it, I also have to disagree. There's certain instances where college isn't necessary. Example, if you're going to be an artist, tattoo artist, yeah, you don't need college. Let's be honest here. If you're a doctor, you're going to need college. Like there's a certain balance between like certain design school choices and certain like things you can do while you're before college, while you're pre-college, while you're in high school, while you're in like that certain time frame while you're not in university or you're deciding if you should go to university. That's when the real creative juices flow. I specifically am talking about design school. Design school is a choice. I know that. Design school is very much a choice, like I said before. I think while it is a great aspect in college where you're able to be in like a community of people that are all creating at the same time, I feel like it's easier to not to just find yourself a hub or find yourself a hobby or find yourself a community online that you can kind of bounce ideas off of. It's easier that way, in my opinion. Listen, I had considered going back to college a hot minute ago. And by a hot minute ago, I mean a few months ago. And I think by the whims of fate, I was rejected. And I'm so glad I was. Why? Because I have other opportunities I can do. I mean, I'm so honored to have the degree I have. I'm so honored to have the occupation or the ability to have occupations because of my health. But it's just like it's so difficult these days because also the job market is not funzo. That's also a thing we must discuss. Why the job market kind of sucks, guys. Let's discuss. Let's discuss actually. So, out of college, I had maybe one internship that I took when I was a sophomore in college, so my second year in college. I took a internship with a silk fabric company, and they worked with like really big fashion names. I can't name them all, can't name them because of just like doxing and whatever, but I was basically in a Devil Wears Prada moment. And very honored to have gone through that experience because it really taught me what I wanted and what I didn't want in my job occupation. So learning that stuff was kind of horrific and kind of scary, and I feel like some of the things were kind of illegal, but you know, she also taught me to have tough skin, taught me my boss taught me so much, and I'm so honored that she gave me that opportunity back when I was like what 20. Anyways, after that, I've stuck around with like no job after college. I was not lined up with a job, so I was looking for work and then I finally found one, but it wasn't really for me. And then I also did some retail work and then I finally ended up at this Fortune 500 job. I was at a Fortune 500 job. I had a good salary, I had benefits, I had a life that I did not think I was ever going to have. And I was happy, but it was temporary and it was also a shit show at the end. I don't know how to explain it to you guys. It was really bad. Here's the issue. I had a falling out with one of my colleagues and it had turned into this massive thing, and at the end of the day they didn't necessarily let me go. They told me that my temporary position was done, and that's fine. Then they told me that I was fighting for a full-time position that they quote unquote never told me about. They pit me against my colleague, and then it was like this whole issue. So it was this whole issue. And I didn't know that I was fighting for a position. I was working my hardest and I was doing what I had to do and I was doing everything right. But they just I was never in the running because at the end of the day, I was fighting with a person that had quote unquote already taken the job by the second week. And I had started the second week of their occupation. So that was kind of crazy. That was kind of insane. I would never do that again. However, the best part of all of that was that I went to that occupation, completed my short term, and then, oh Lord, here comes the fun part. They blocked me and they wouldn't give me a letter of recommendation. This is a thing that happens in the fashion industry. Not that I think happens very often, but it does happen in also other industries where you are given a letter of recommendation, so it's easier for you to find more employment in other places when they ask you for recommendations and they ask you for past work experience. Basically, it gives you like a higher edge, higher vibe. I don't know how to explain it to you, but basically, it's like a signed paper that your past employer has made telling them about the pros and cons of you and like what they expect from you and what. So they refused to give me one. And I was like, why? And when I texted them why, or when I emailed them why, guess what they did? Guess what they did, Chatteroni? They blocked me. Every single person I had interacted with in that circle of that employment had blocked me, had taken me off their LinkedIn, have taken me off their social medias, have blocked my number, blocked my email. It was impossible to connect with any other person in that occupation, in that employment. And I was like, what the heck happened? I didn't do anything wrong, or did I? It was like this constant back and forth between what happened and what didn't happen. And I was always very scared about going back into the fashion industry because of it. And it led me to my last occupation, or last employment, I should say, is that I was working with not the I was working with jewelry. I was working with gold, and I wasn't working with fashion anymore necessarily. I was working with accessories, and very, 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 very grateful for the amount of stuff that I did there. That was also short term, which is also a thing. These days, everyone is very short term, very, 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 very short term. So the issue I have with that is that I'm not able to have too much of a place in the workplace, as well as I don't get benefits. In the States, if you're not working full time, if you're not working for a certain amount of hours, for a certain amount of months, you do not get benefits. And that's just that. So when people hire you part time, they're making sure you don't get benefits such as dental, health, 401k, all that fun jazz. They basically don't give it to you. And that's like their way of saving their ass. And that's fine, I guess. But that's not for me. I need the benefits. Like, I crave that dental insurance, chat. Excuse me. And I think people are doing that these days because no one can afford anything here. Let's be honest here. The job market kind of ass, and so is the employer market as well. So imagine being an employer and trying to save your dollar when the world is crumbling around you, and some person goes, "Hey, can I not go part time? Can I go full time and have benefits and have you pay for my dental, medical, and 401k?" Oh, oh, that sounds horrible. That sounds horrible. Guys, I did have to at one point pay health insurance out of pocket, and that was not fun. I do not recommend that. I do not recommend that. I recommend finding occupation. Which is hard, which is so hard. And guys, I was unemployed for a very, very good chunk of time. And I guess it's a lesson learned as well as some more important stuff that we should talk about, which is how streaming helped me I guess learn a few skills as well as learn to that patience is a virtue, quite frankly. So I can't deny that I do get paid from streaming. Being affiliated is great. Being affiliated and having a community is great. But one of the things that it did teach me was that it's not enough to start off with. I've never assumed that I was going to be rich and famous that from the get-go that I didn't need to have an occupation or an employment, I mean. And at the end of the day, I think the issue is that I was being too delusional. Listen, in order to be a streamer, you got to be kind of delusional in your own sense. And I understand that. But you have to be realistic at the same time too. You're not making as much money as as like the higher up 1%, 0.1% of people. Those people are making bank, but you're not, and that's okay. That's okay to start off that way. So as I was getting small bits of money, I was saving up. So just in case I wanted to get something, or just in case I had an emergency, I had money on the side. And then as I'm doing streaming, I'm looking for employment. And it'd been like that for 2 years. I spent 2 years basically unemployed. I worked for a family company, for a family built company, and they were very generous and they gave me a great employment, and they also provided me with resources. They provided me with extreme time. I was remote. It was great. And I mean, I was so grateful, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. One of the things that makes it really difficult for me is that finding a job is one thing, but actually liking what you're doing for the job is very difficult for me. So if I'm at a job and I hate it there, or I'm not passionate about it, I cannot get anything done. And maybe that's like the red flag in me when it comes to employment, but like I just can't do that. I can't. I've tried it all. Oh my god. Let me drink a swig of water really quickly. Or technically goof juice. Okay. So, a few more things I guess we should note is that the job market does suck, Jet. I can't deny that. But I know we're all trying our hardest to get employment, and employment is not fun. But let's go back to the title. Why quitting your job might be the answer. You're probably wondering why the heck I named it that title. Well, because for my last occupation, I had to quit. Why? Because it was toxic. Let's discuss. Let's discuss. So, for those that don't know, I said my last occupation was with accessories, and I found it decent to work there. It was corporate. I had worked with small companies before and large companies before. However, this company, hold up. Sorry, I had to take a phone call. Okay. So, this issue that I had with this company was that I was not satisfied with the amount of money I was making. I was getting lowballed really badly. And for those that don't understand what that means that they're not paying me enough for the hours I am putting in. And I was not happy. I was like, I can do work, but you're not giving me work, you're not teaching me work, and you're not paying me enough. So I expressed that to my company. They said, oh, yeah, we definitely lowballed you. We will implement some stuff to you so you can have more stuff on hand and you can be more busy, as well as increase your pay. And I was like, okay, cool, love that. Fast forward a month and they still haven't done it. And I was like, okay. And they're always going off on other excursions and they're always doing other things. And I was like, well, I'm kind of stuck here. You need to help me. I'm not getting paid enough. I cannot work here. And then they pulled me aside and they said, hey, you're not doing enough work here. So we're going to make you do more hours with less pay. And if you can't take that, then that is a leave. You're going to have to leave. And I was like, what? You switched up on me so fast. It was so difficult. So it was such a difficult scenario to be a part of because I found decent people in that company. I found hope. I found a lot of things in that company, but I wasn't satisfied. And this money issue was horrible. And I was so upset. So I ultimately sent in my resignation letter and I left. And there's also some other things that happened there where it was stress inducing because I wasn't given the tools that I needed in order to succeed. I wasn't given proper teaching. I wasn't given certain things. And I just wish that that wasn't how it ended. It was really upsetting to me. And I really wish it didn't end up that way. But sometimes that's why you have to quit a job. Sometimes I'm very lucky to have had enough income that I could have a cushion to leave, or that I had other opportunities elsewhere. But I beg you guys not to stay with a company that is not going to treat you right. And I hope you find inspiration from this, not to necessarily quit your job. Don't just quit your job with no plan, because that's not smart. And I believe me, I know better than anyone that that's not a smart idea. But please be careful with who you're working with. Remember to read all the forms. Remember to see what works for you. Give them a week, give them a month, give them a year. Do what you have to do before you finally make the ultimate decision to leave a workplace. It's not easy. This world is not easy these days, especially because you're not going to have everything handed to you these days. No one's out, everyone's out to get you. No one's there for you half the time. So, not to be all Debbie Downer, but it's hard out here. But I guess to leave on a lighter note, I have an interview today. And let's just say I had been unemployed recently for about like a month. So I've had a money cushion, so I haven't had any issue with having to be financially dependent on other people. However, it is very good to have people that might desire you in the workplace. Because believe me, you've worked hard. You've worked hard. Someone definitely wants you in their employer as their employee. Someone definitely wants to have you and definitely wants to hire you. And I know that as a fact. You know why? Because I've worked at random places. I've worked at weird instances, and I'm surprised that people have given me a chance because they see that in me. And I also see that in you, Chat. I believe that finding work is difficult, but it's possible. It's possible. If I'm able to do it, I know you guys can. So that's my little spiel about, I guess, why quitting your job might be the answer. And that's also my spiel about I guess my work and workflow and work stuff. Maybe we'll delve into it further about what happened in my college years, like another episode. But for now, I guess I'll just explain this. During school, I was also very, very sick. So to have this employment, and then also them taking away my, what is the word? They took away my, what is the word I'm looking for? I think they took away my internships. There you go. They took away my internships. And then they also took away my bachelor's degree. I unfortunately was given an associate's degree only, even though I've committed 4 years with the amount of credits I needed. They just wouldn't give me the bachelor's degree, which is a whole nother story, which we can delve into next episode, or in 2 episodes, or however many episodes. But the university system is a little goofed up, but I'm believing you guys. I believe we can do this. We got this. And I'm a firm believer that you will find a job at the end of the day. You will find occupation. You'll find your calling of what you want to do when you go to college. I'm a believer. I believe. Anyways, thank you for joining me today. I had so much fun. Oh my God, I haven't talked about my employment arc, or my unemployment arc, or my college arc in so long. Like I said before, I was very sick back in 2018 up until like last year. So it's been like 7, 8 years of just pure battling with like disease, autoimmune diseases, sickness, medication. It's like we can delve into that next time. That's a whole other story. And I can't wait to share that with you guys. But for now, this is all. This is all that I can provide today. Today I have an interview. Like I said, I have like a half an hour until this interview hits. So thank you for joining me today. I had so much fun. This was Corgi Chisme with your chaos Corgi, Kaekaay. Hey. It was good seeing you. Thank you so much for coming by. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.